listen to this now, James. It's an intriguing question. Would you rather have Nick Saban guaranteed? Here's the thing. You got guarantees on both sides. One is you're guaranteed Nick Saban to coach through the 2025 season. So that's 8 more years of Nick Saban walking the sidelines. Okay? But you have no guarantees of wins. You have no guarantees that he'll have the sustained success. You have no guarantee that he will repeat what he's done here now. Or you could have a guarantee that Nick Saban will win the next 2 national titles for a three-peat. So, Alabama fans, would you rather have Nick Saban 2025 with no guarantee that he's going to duplicate what he's done? Or would you rather be the first college, the first university, the first team to have a three-peat for national titles?
I assume you can't have both, by the way.
We might, but not for the sake of this question. Not for the sake of this question, James. I mean, think about something that's hasn't been done in modern football, and that would be coming off of what that would give you as an Alabama fan is 7 championships in 13 years? So you would have won more than half of the possible championships, but there's no guarantee you win another one if he stays. Or is there a guarantee if he stays? Is it a guarantee? Do people believe that Nick Saban is guaranteed to win another national title if he stays for 8 more years? Which one would you rather have? 205-342-9904. You can get in on that conversation. 205-342-9904. So, James, it's now, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the guaranteed championships, or do you prefer being a part of the because we're going to be a part of the conversation if Nick Saban's the coach here, if he doesn't drop off? When is that magic year? You know, like in all sports, James, and that's what people are waiting on. When is the shoe going to drop with Tom Brady? You know, like, can he – everybody thought it would be this year. He's 40 years old and he wins the MVP. Is Nick Saban going to be like Tom Brady where the older he gets, he's actually getting better? Or is that shoe going to drop? Is that shoe going to drop? Was the recruiting that happened this year, was that a sign that the shoe is dropping?
Well, if you look at Coach Bryant's winning percentages, I believe they actually did go higher the older he got.
Yeah, but then was it a quick drop, though? You're right. The late 70s, he was better in the late 70s than he was any other point, in his career. But when it dropped, did it drop? And how fast did it drop? So the question is where's Nick Saban in that cycle? Is Nick Saban building or declining? Was the recruiting that happened this year not just the fact that Alabama only signed 19 players, but that other people took players? You know, Texas convinced a kid to join them who was committed to us. Georgia convinced kids who were committed to us to join them. Kirby locked down the state of Georgia. Jimbo Fisher and Tom Herman locked down the state of Texas. I mean, yeah, we got other players, but we didn't get players from the Southeast. We got players from all over the country, but we got a few from Florida. And there's a guy down there. Mullins took a guy from Alabama. Dabo took a guy from Alabama. So is it a guarantee that this wasn't the beginning of the decline?
You know what Jeremy Pruitt has said about Tennessee's recruiting in Memphis for the future.
Well, I mean, he's going to lock down. His goal is to lock down Memphis. What did he say?
Going to be our city, end quote.
And you don't really think about Memphis as a big recruiting, base, but for the state of Tennessee, Memphis is as rich a recruiting ground, James, as these other places are in their respective states. And so to lose Memphis, to lose the state of Georgia, to lose ground in Florida, to lose ground in Texas. Now, we still owned, I think, Baton Rouge, which is good news for Alabama. And to lose ground potentially in the state of Alabama, if someone came and offered you 2 more national titles in a row, which one would you take? Would you take the 2 national titles and send Saban off clearly at that point with 8 national titles as the greatest coach ever? Or would you rather have him on the sideline calling his shots for the next 8 years, 2025, Nick Saban walking your sideline? And who would have ever thought that Nick Saban may be here that long? He's already exceeded my expectations for how long he coached at the Tide. But would you rather, James, you got to give me an answer, James. I'm tossing the question out there, but you're now on the clock, James. It's buy, sell, or actually we're getting a little early start on deal, no deal for tomorrow, James. So you're looking at it. Nick Saban guarantees you 2 national titles, which would give your university 19 national titles, give Nick Saban 7 at Alabama in 13 years, 8 overall, or you can have him for the next 8 years with no guarantee.
There's something significant for college football about winning 3 national titles in a row. I think with the increased competition that's coming, not just on the field, but as we're kind of seeing already in recruiting, just from Kirby Smart and Jeremy Pruitt will be a factor. And if Dan Mullen gets things going at Florida, and that's not even including Texas A&M with Jimbo Fisher, and whatever happens with LSU if Ed Orgeron doesn't work out, I would, and this is probably a conservative play actually here. I'd take myself, I'd go ahead and take the 2 extra national championships because you get certainly in the bag. Plus, I mean, you have as well just that historical footnote of being the first program of having 3 straight national championships that other programs out there would certainly just put in your face as far as if they won 3 national championships in a row.
Yeah, and I'm leaning counter toward you. I'm trying to think here. 2 more years, back to back, no one's ever done it, and he rides off into the sunset. Greatest coach ever, clearly at that point. Done something, more national titles, something that no other coach has ever done. And to me, I don't think the run is necessarily over, but I think that what's happening is Alabama, the gap between Alabama and the rest of college football is closing. In other words, as more and more players are spread out, Clemson's taking players and Georgia's taking players that would have been signed with Alabama, I think that the gap is closing. But I think the gap is significant enough that we could still be the dominant program for a couple more years. Robert Saucier says 8 years, I'll take my chances. So, that's kind of the question. James, would you – because the thing that you have to think about is what's next. If Nick Saban leaves, what's next? And I ask you one more question, then we'll get to break, James. Do you think, and I'm gonna give you which one I'm gonna take in a minute. If Nick Saban were to win back-to-back in a 3-peat, would he walk away? That needs to be a deal. Let's put that on the deal, no deal question.
Yes.
Nick Saban, because think about this. Nick Saban wins 2 more. Would he walk away, James? Because in that case, now you have to ask yourself as an Alabama fan, if Nick Saban were to win 3 in a row, a three-peat. And that's what, as an Alabama fan, that's what you want. You want Alabama to keep winning. You want Alabama to keep winning. So, but if he wins 2 in a row, 2 more, I don't know that he would keep going. Win every other year. Because it's those losses that reinvigorates him, James. It's next year that reinvigorates him. It's the fact that Kirby Smart almost got him this year that reinvigorates him. So if he were to win 3 in a row, would he just walk away? A lot to think about. We'll deal with that. No deal tomorrow right here on the Blitz. Hey, let's go ahead and get the break here. Robert Saucier, but let me get his comments in. He said, 8 years and I'll take my chances. It's about the culture he's developed here. No, he wouldn't walk away just because of that. So Robert's saying no. I don't know that would be the only reason, but, whoa. I think he's positioned himself. I think the coaching changes are all about him making one last run. I think he got youth around him and then got Burton Burns experienced on the offensive side, went out and got Kulagowski. I get
Coach Cool.
Coach Cool. See, it's K-U-L-I, but James and I did a little research. It's C-O-O-L is the way you do it. Kulagowski. Coach Kulagowski on the defensive side to bring some maturity, and then he surrounded himself with just a bunch of young guys.
I talked about it in my show yesterday. I actually got a little kind of contact with that Miami football program that kind of helped me out with that pronunciation, by the way. So that's right.
Kulagowski. Coach Kulagowski on the defensive side to give a little bit of experience. Coach Burns on the offense. The rest of them are young bucks. Mike Lotsky is not young, but he's new in his role here at Alabama. So Alabama's going to have what they need to make a nice 3, 4, 5 year run. And I think that's what Nick Saban is preparing for to wrap things up. By the way, I'm like Robert Saucier. I would take probably the 2025, and let me tell you why. Because he might just get the three-peat anyway, but he definitely, I think, will win at least 2 more titles in the next 8 years unless something else drastically happens. Because what will happen is, yes, these other teams are catching up, but they're not surpassing Alabama. And when you take the culture, the tradition, and his ability to continue to evolve as a head coach, I'll take him moving forward over anybody else, and I'll take my chances on 8 years with him being more successful than the next 2 being back-to-back